Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hey
Good.
everyone.
How are you, Sarah and Kristen?
I'm feeling under the weather, as I told you before the show started. So, everybody, if you're wondering why I look a little lethargic, I had mentioned that my daughter was sick last week. Well, lo and behold, I am now sick this week, as are all the adults in the house and the other two children, because that's how it works when you're a family of six.
So
But
Hazel's like, I don't know what everyone's problem is. I feel great.
yeah, pretty much. And the 3-year-old is just like sneezing because he's been sick like once when he was a baby. So he's like, he doesn't even know what's happening. And he's just like openly sneezing all over. It's disgusting over here. But,
That's what happens, yeah, with little ones. We were talking about that a little earlier. It was like they just don't know what to do with all of it. It just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Some adults too, from what I've witnessed in the last 2 years. But I mean, maybe
Very
that's
true. Good point. Yes, good point. Yeah.
like, was it ever acceptable to go out in public when you were sneezing and hacking? That's right. People used to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's okay to go on a virtual video, though. That's the
Yeah.
nice
There you go.
here, thankfully, even though I'm not feeling 100%, and I don't have to worry about sharing any of my germs. Isn't that lovely?
Right. You can just share inspiration and beading love, but no germs.
I'm grateful.
That's true. Well, we have Cassandra back from Beads to Live By. We are super excited because this month, Cassandra started something brand new to Beads to Live By, and we are going to share about it. And she has a really fun project to show. I'm going to be playing around with beads, as is Kristen. You can see she has some over there on her bead mat as well. And we're just going to have a really nice beady break here right in the middle of the work week. So Cassandra, what is new at Beads to Live By? What are we sharing today?
So, I, of course, thinking more about the project than I did about the subscriptions. I'm really glad that you girls have the samples of what the subscription portion will look like for people. These are what we are calling our curated collections. So, carefully chosen either for color scheme, like the seed bead collection we're going to look at today, or crazy good value to kind of like amplify your bead stash, like the button option. And this is an example of one of the buttons from the August box. So definitely really excited to share something that's like a surprise every month for people. And that is why we're looking at the August colors, because these are already something that have been shipped out to the subscribers. And now, while people register through September 16th, they're actually going to be subscribing to start with the September delivery. So people don't have to worry about like they're seeing all of the stuff that they'd already be getting.
Okay, so is this the first box? Is this August one, your kickoff?
This is the kickoff, first ever. I about lost my mind sitting on customer support with our app that we're using box for our business. Yes, and I was so excited that you girls were interested and willing to, share in the fun and share it with your audience, because I just am like, not over my head now, but leading up to this felt like I just didn't even know where to start with some of these things.
Yeah, so there's 2 subscription boxes that you can order. One of them will have 8 buttons, and the buttons will all be unique. Is that right, Cassandra?
Yes.
And they're vintage or vintage style check glass buttons.
Yes, correct. And just to give people an idea of the range, like we have cute little animals. One of the shapes in the August subscription was a little bell. and like an opaque lavender glass. So, the one that I'm sitting here with is like on the smaller to medium side of what you can expect, and definitely a little fancier than, not all of them are going to look like regal sort of this way. But one of the buttons, I mean, in the palm of my hand, probably the width of it, I mean, it was a huge oval button. So definitely like a good variety of things that people can check out. Aw, Julie, hi.
Yeah, we're working with our StreamYard, and it lets us look at everybody's table and face, which is so handy. So second subscription box will have 8 bags of size 8 seed beads.
11.
Or no, size 11 seed beads. And it'll be a color palette of colors that you can intermix together. Is that right?
That is a great way to describe it, yes.
So Kristen, will you open yours? And I have mine over here. So Kristen and I have a split of the August box, and she has half of it and I have half of it. So the colors I have here are part of the box, and then Kristen's going to open the other 4 colors on her end.
I thought it'd be fun to give you guys like, a challenge. Maybe you could like duel with the seed beads and see who could come up with the favorite project.
A duel when I'm not feeling under the weather for a duel.
Maybe we're now on equal footing because I'm such a slow designer and Sarah's so quick.
Challenge not accepted.
Challenge not accepted. I do want to add that Teresa says, thank you to Softflex for introducing me to Cassandra. Her store is about 40 minutes away, and she's just as friendly in person. Oh, so great that you found a local bead store.
I think Teresa was just at the store maybe last weekend. Am I remembering correctly, Teresa? If it is Teresa, she walked in and almost immediately shared where she had found us at. And it just cracks me up that there's people less than an hour away from our business that are finding us because of you lovely internet friends.
I love that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Ooh, I love this color palette. So like Sarah said, I've got half of the colors out of the 8 in the box, and these are all size 11. And these are so your colors too, Sarah. So I'm curious. I'm curious what you received.
I got more of the green turquoisey colors, which
those are great too.
So this is a very sand and sea looking palette to me. Did you have an inspiration?
Yes, I felt like if I was, it was partially dependent upon the fact that we were starting in August, but I felt like, if I was going to squeak in one last like kind of nautical themed color palette, it had to be in August, right? So the summer heat and the fact that, it'd be really ideal to spend as much time as possible in the water before the cooler months set in, kind of that idea.
That's awesome. Yeah, these are really pretty. So I was playing around on my table. I see Kristen's already pulling out a bunch of stuff from her table as well. But I was playing around on my table and making a little teardrop shape with the wig jig. And then I think I'm going to decorate it with the seed beads using some 26 gauge Softflex craft wire. So why don't I show you guys how to make this form, and then I'll pass it over to Cassandra or Kristen, and then I can start seed beading it up over here, since that takes a little bit of time. Does that sound good, ladies?
That sounds fantastic.
You should probably move over to Cassandra because I'll take a little while to figure out what I'm doing.
No pressure, Kristen.
That sounds good. You get ready, Cassandra.
Oh, I was born ready now. Not at all. But I prepared a lot today.
I believe it. So we've got our wig jig Olympus light here. You can find this on the Softflex company website. Thank you. My wonderful husband just brought me some coffee.
Oh, perfect. Those are the best.
Yeah, I was like, I might need these if I have to talk for a while.
That's exactly the thing that I use if I have any kind of upper respiratory. I don't want any other kind of cough drop.
I'm the same way.
Drops, and then I have this throat coat tea. Have you guys ever tried that from Traditional Medicinals?
Yes.
It's a tea company here in Northern California. And it's really good. It's really nice on your throat. And I was reminded of it. I went to a concert and the Traditional Medicinals head person was there. And the singer from Fleet Foxes was giving him shout outs because he uses this tea for his throat all the time.
Oh, before
he was here. Like he was starstruck by the tea guy.
That's funny. It's like, I'm so happy to see my tea guy here. Yeah.
It reminded me, it was great marketing because then when I got sick, I was like, I need some of that throat coat tea. Anyway.
It's so good. They make a great little mixed pack that you can get with a couple of different things for when you're not feeling well. So you can get the throat coat along with like a couple of other ones all together.
We had a graphic designer that worked for us. And then when she left, she went to Traditional Medicinals and she sent me a bunch of samples. I think she did you too, right, Kristen?
Yeah, she might have. Maybe that's where I got started using them. That could be actually.
Into it, yeah. But I've loved it ever since then. That was years and years ago. So I'm using the 18 gauge Softflex craft wire in the silver plated gold color. And I just trimmed my end. I ran my nylon jaw pliers over the wire to get any bumps or kinks out. And then I'm going to take my little veil making plier and I'm going to use the size up from the bottom. So just a little bit bigger than the smallest, one step up to make my first loop. Like so. And then I'm just going to take this and slide it onto my wig jig in my pattern. If I wanted to make a bigger drop, I could use the bigger little spacer things. What are these called? Super pegs. And you can get a package of those in addition to the Olympus Light. The Olympus Light will come with just the metal pegs. But these are really nice because they're clear. You can draw a pattern, keep it for later, and just slide it right underneath it. They're very solid. It's made from the same material as like an airplane window, so it's very difficult to break.
That is super cool.
Super durable, and you can make all sorts of different shapes. This is just one of many shapes that you can make. So I'm just gonna slide the wire around the peg. I'm not actually pulling on the wire, I'm just sort of guiding it. And then I'm gonna come up and around my peg and up and over. And then I just kind of push that down so I'm getting a nice shape. So I've made sort of like a horseshoe shape.
Cute. And I would say those super pegs are a definite must buy with the jig. I mean, I use them handy. I use them all the time.
I would even say 2 packs of them is nice because then you've got two in both sizes or all sizes. And that can make it easy if you need to make like a figure 8 shape or anywhere where you need like making a butterfly or anything where you need the 2 sides to look the same. It's nice to have them doubled up.
I'm sitting here thinking like that's the kind of tool that the non-wire aficionado like myself needs for being able to, broaden my horizons.
Yeah, it's super handy. I'm going to work hard in this by simply swatting this down on top of it. This is a wire whacker. You can find these on our website as well. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself for this few seconds while I'm doing this, okay?
I
was kind of hoping she would just let it fly, and
I know I do. I usually do, and it's like boom, everything shakes. So she's being very thoughtful.
Sometimes Kristen's dog will go off on it, so
I know they don't like it. They don't like when I bang.
Get her dog going.
So first there's the thumping, and then there's the dog barking. And
Right. It's like a whole thing.
That just strengthens this. If I really pulled on this, it would come out of this shape if I really yanked on it. But if I'm just gently, everyday wear, it's going to stay in that shape pretty well. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take my chain nose plier and I'm just going to bend and turn that little loop and then open so that I can then slide this over and around the base and then close it back up.
People struggle so much to get a nice clean drop shape. And I say this like I literally was telling you guys that I was working on a sample earlier with something in a similar shape, not a similar design, but that is a very cool way to be able to cleanly make that look.
Yeah, and then you can consistently make it, which is nice when you're making things like earrings and you need them to be the same size and same shape. It makes it go quickly and easily, and it kind of takes the stress out of it. So I'm going to just play around with the colors. I might even start with this darkest color at the bottom and maybe work my way up. And for this, I'm going to use the 26 gauge wire. So we have this wire from 16 gauge up to 28 gauge, 28 gauge being the thinnest. And it's good to have, like, if you use gold and silver, it's good to have those in kind of all of the gauges, and that way you can kind of mix and match them. It's going to take me a while to find the end on this thing, though, because I let it
wrapped up so nicely. So
our friend, every day of my life.
Our friend Danielle Wicks is here, and she said, you had me at seed bead subscription, but this color is the best.
That makes my heart pitter patter, Danielle. Thank you.
I don't think I've heard of any seed bead subscription boxes or any button subscription boxes. So I think
interesting
on this.
Yeah,
I do think there are some seed bead subscriptions out there, but I have noticed that there's a lot of subscriptions that mix up the ingredients or the content into like a kind of a variety. And I do hope people enjoy the idea of being able to kind of narrow down what they're getting so that they know it's something that they would be able to utilize.
Yeah. Susie is saying here that she absolutely loves these colors, and it's nice that they're all matched up for her. On her own, she sometimes will run amok.
Susie is a very dear customer that's local to Jackson, so she's being a sweetheart and jumping on here with us tonight. Hi, Susie.
You know what would be fun, Cassandra, is if 1 month we were to team up and give you our color palette for our kit and have your subscription box for your seed beads match the kit.
Because our kits are mystery too, so nobody needs to know.
That sounds like an epic idea that I 100% am on board with.
Do that, because it would be fun to see how they could incorporate in the seed beads with whatever it is that we've sent, which will be very different. We don't send seed beads very often, so that would be
very
cool.
Very. I mean, I think the only time we did was a really long time ago when we had a stash of them, but we haven't had seed beads in a long time.
So. Yeah, not enough to put in the kits for sure.
Yeah. I will say, since a lot of maybe a lot of the viewers don't work with seed beads as often, you are working with a 26 gauge wire, which is awesome because it's a little bit more thread-like and will hold the seed beads with a little bit more give. You know, the holes are larger than the wire. But I know for a fact that this size seed bead fits on up to a 22 gauge craft wire. So that's helpful, I think, for people to just kind of have in their back pocket for design ideas. And then also, this is not a critique, Sarah. I just want to give people like the best possible experience if they are struggling a little bit. With something like the 22 gauge, I do have to like almost individually load some of the seed beads onto my wire but with an end of a piece of wire or a needle and thread, giving yourself a generous pile of seed beads so that they kind of like clump up, and sometimes working on like a softer surface, a bead mat, will give people the ability to like string a few beads on at a time too.
Oh, that's really smart. That's a great tip.
So, I just know people can get frustrated easily with tiny things. So
for sure. Yeah. And seed beads are so fun because they can do things like just be a little spacer, you know, to add a drop of color between beads. They can be color blocked, which is sort of what you're going to show us with your necklace that you have there, which is fun. You can do it on a memory wire. You can do it on soft flex. You can do it on lots of different types of materials. And size 11 seed beads will actually fit even on our 019 soft flex. So it'll go on a pretty thick diameter.
Yeah, that's what I'm using over here. So I pulled out the 019 soft flex, and that's what I'll be showing.
Sarah, your little seed beads look so perfect wire wrapped on there.
I know, they look so cute.
I'm going to keep working on this, and then you guys can flip back to me as I get my earring kind of filled up, okay?
Awesome.
In the meantime, I'm going to flip over to Cassandra so she can show us what's going on. Oh, I had one more thing to show since you've got the button there to remind me. I wore this especially for today because I used a button closure that's a check glass button. So this is kind of a similar idea to what you might find in that button subscription box. And they make just the best little closures with soft flex as I'm
throwing all your beads around.
That's every day of my life, Sarah.
I know. Well, my brain is just gone today. So it's crimped into a little loop, and then that loop just fits right over the button. And you can see it just adds that really nice last detail, really sweet and lovely. They're really special. So
it's a beautiful one. And if you had seed beads, you can seed bead around the loop if that's something you wanted to do too.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
What size wire did you use, Sarah, for that?
This is an 019.
Okay.
Flex. Yeah. And it's pretty good. It's pretty strong. 024 would be even stronger for making this kind of a closure. But I wear this pretty often, and I'm pretty confident it's going to be good.
Well, and that's exactly why I asked, because I figured that if you felt like 024 was a requirement, you would definitely be honest with us.
Yeah, I mean, 024 would be better. Will this maybe eventually break down? Possibly. But I don't mind. Yeah,
all jewelry, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay, I got that out of the way. I really wanted to show that because I think your button subscription box is going to be something really special that people want to take a close look at.
Yeah, we've seen an equal amount of interest in the buttons and the seed beads so far. So, oh, yay, Susie!
Yeah, and it's a great mix of buttons.
I'll try to remember to post a picture of the ones from the August subscription in the VIB group, just so that people can see the idea of what they would look forward to.
That's awesome. Yeah, please do that. All right, let's see your design here, Cassandra.
So my thought process behind each month, I really want to share a design idea that will either give people with a little more stitching experience something that they can get into, or something for people that are just totally not into bead weaving with like a needle and thread and just want some like fresh ideas for things they can do with the seed beads. Because traditionally, I feel like I see a lot of things with the size 11s end up being very kind of fussy, looking to someone who's not interested in doing that kind of beadwork. So this was my answer to that this month with the August colors, was doing something that gave it some interest and something that I could hopefully give people some, unique ideas and viewpoints on without it being, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go cross-eyed trying to do this.
It's a good starter project.
Yeah. Yeah, and in this sample, I did use all 8 colors from that August box because as I worked, I felt like there was a good ombre from, A to Z with those. But I explained in the event page and then posted a link on our Facebook page to that you can use as little as like 4 colors, I think, of seed beads and still get a good, kind of fade in color. And I want to share, like the details of how to do that fade. And really, we only have to go through like the process in, color A to color B to explain that. But I'll also talk about, I want people to feel like they can plot out their design without as much stress as might normally happen. Because for me, when I started stringing this, I just was working with my colors in like a quantity of beads that was pleasing to me. But then, at some point in the necklace, I was like, oh, I have to think about how this is going to fit me, right? So,
where is this going to end?
yeah, the kind of thing that happens to all of us. But, that's why we're here, is to try to ease the burden on our viewers. So with this one, I decided to, I reversed the fade at the middle. I keep pulling these other little beads in here. So I used this pearl as a focal, and you could use any bead. This is probably like a 6mm by like a 10mm. So freshwater pearl. And of course, with the oceany colors, that was just kind of a given in my mind once I decided I needed something to stick on the necklace with the seed beads. And then the only other bead that is throughout this, other than those that are in the subscription, is the demi seed bead. And now I'm just realizing that I don't have my demi out for my.
So are the demis a shorter? Are they shorter? Is that what they
are? So I just realized that when I'm on camera, it always sounds like I'm saying dummy, and it's DEMI for anyone who is catching that.
Like Demi Moore. Oh, you muted, Cassandra. Hold on a second.
Yeah, like Demi Moore. So they're like half the size of a regular seed bead is what they're a Toho brand.
Such a pretty design. It looks so beachy. I love it.
Thank you. I'll pour some of the, I don't know if you guys can see that kind of ring shape.
Yellow, Kristen.
I know, I got that yellow. Yeah. It's a pretty,
that mustardy really kind of.
I love the yellow.
Says, simple, but very, very cute. And Lisa says, that's perfect to use as a wrap bracelet too. She loves it.
Lisa, I love where your head's at. That's exactly what I was going to talk about with this other sample I'm working on here. So when it comes to the sizing, people need to take into account a couple of things. The quantity of colors they're using and the amount of space that they're going to create with the solid colors. So when I say the space with the solid colors, I'm going to find one that's more obvious. Like this stretch of 11s in the green is a section that's solid, and then you have these transition spaces with the 2 colors blending together, and that's where I threw those demis in to just add a little texture to it.
So it's not a hard color block, it's more of a softer gradual change.
Yes, and I felt like throwing one seed bead throughout the whole thing kind of visually created more of a blend too, perhaps. Because, I mean, Kristen, you can speak to this. When you're working with something like paint or, colored pencils, you can color right over or mix colors together to create a bead. But seed beads don't do that. They're a solid object.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because really if you take 2 colors and then you mix a third color out of those 2, you're going to get a very harmonious palette to work with. So you're kind of mimicking that by doing a slow change to
that was my goal.
Yeah. Very cool.
So when
Katie
you're aw, thanks, Katie.
And Pamela is wondering what kind of clasp you used, Cassandra.
I'm so glad you asked, Pamela. It's like we placed you in the comments to promote the product.
Just the right time.
So this clasp is one of our favorites. It's called a ball and socket. We sell them in 5 different colors on our website. And if you search under that term on the website, it's also listed under the category other products. So you can find it in one of 2 ways. The search engine on our website is really sensitive and helpful. So if you type in, a couple words that are similar to what you're looking for, you usually have it pop up in one of the first few listings. But they are durable. They're easy to use. I'll clasp and unclasp it on camera so you guys can see. And it's one of my favorite things to use on a bracelet because I find it very easy to use one-handed. Unlike like a lobster claw, to me is like one of the hardest things to use on a bracelet, and function with just your one finger while you're trying to clasp it into the other loop. So that's what we used. And then on this sample, I did use one of the magical crimpers to get that nice little finish ball.
Yeah, it's a very cool clasp. I think Cassandra has shared this one with us a few times on video, and it works in so many different designs and just makes things a little easier.
Yes, it's probably in most of the videos I do because it's probably on most of the jewelry that I make.
Your favorite.
Yeah. Really love a good button. Like Sarah was talking about, I think buttons make a really excellent clasp. And I actually, spoiler alert, am going to be using some in upcoming videos, and I have a few pendant design ideas. So I'm excited about sharing that too.
So one more little thing before you get going, Thomas is sharing that I also like to use numbers in a necklace design for intention. So if you look up numerology, you can do things based on numbers. And so when you're working on this pattern, you can kind of tap into that. But it also made me think of Morse code jewelry. Have you seen that kind of stuff?
Yes. And I've done some of that with I don't know if you've used the Tila beads at all before, but that's in the book that Sarah did, isn't it? There's some Tilas in there.
There is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a fun way. I actually made my husband a Morse code bracelet that said "Love you to the moon" or something like that.
Oh, I love that. So there's so many different ways you can slightly adjust this type of a design to incorporate Morse code or numerology or, just fun little things like that.
Yes. So I would say for the Morse code, a great way for people to utilize that for your spacer bead, whether you do a demi or just one of your colors of 11s as the quote unquote spacer, you can create, that like one individual spacer bead would separate the letters, and then you could use like a few more of them to separate the words, just to give people, kind of the idea of how to work that in. But there is something really rhythmic. Kristen, you were talking about meditation earlier, and there is something very meditative about stringing long quantities of beads and having to like think out the various intervals of them, right?
Yeah, the counting part is not my strong suit. But if I could come up with ways to make little piles so that I don't have to think and count at the same time, I can just sort of string. That would really be really fun.
Well, I'll share my secret with you then. I definitely did not, on these larger sections, there are not like the same number of seed beads in each solid section, because who would do that to themselves?
Oh, did you measure? Is that how you did it?
Just visually. I did not even like sit and look.
That's what I would do.
A specific quantity. Well, that's, the artist side of us.
I would just, like counting and measuring. it's not always the strongest trait.
It can be a little stressful, right? I think that maybe is part of it for me. So to exemplify, so to finish talking about the plotting out, you just need to account for how big your sections would be, which just for the people that do enjoy a measurement, I will grab my ruler and give you guys the idea of what the like range is on these. I've learned to make sure and grab my little bead stopper and actually clasp off the end of my cord before I let go of it. So that's what I'm doing. But I think that these are all probably falling around an inch. And, you know, now that we're talking about that, I bet unintentionally, I know that the section of like the end of my thumb is really close to an inch from like the joint. That's something that my grandma taught me because she was a seamstress and would, you know, do various crafts. But that probably played into why a lot of these sections are about an inch. But again, that really just depends on how many colors you're doing, how many times you want to repeat the colors in your project. You know, if you're doing a wrap bracelet a few times, you might want to just do 4 colors and change the intervals so that when they overlap, the colors change. I don't know if people have done that enough to kind of know what I'm getting at, but that part, you know, you can plot it out to an extent. And then the other thing I would say about like, so for an 18-inch necklace, we've got 8 colors. You know, you need at least an inch or less per color because then you've also got those transition spaces. So just that idea of like not any hard math, but a little bit of planning goes a long way. And then you can always at the end on the back, if it's a necklace, just, you know, give yourself a little grace and use a little less or a little more of those colors on the back side to keep from driving yourself totally crazy. So my technique for doing that fade, and like I said, I've got part of this necklace started, but I'll go into it here and do like a couple colors start to finish so that you guys can see the transition process fully. And spoiler alert, the colors I'm working with may be arriving in a future box. So if you guys are paying close attention, you'll
I love a good spoiler.
Yeah. That's why I've got my little piles of seed beads fully off camera so that it's not like a full on, you know.
You can't see everything.
Exactly. Can't give them everything. So another way to measure visually without having to, you know, really give yourself such a hardcore situation like a ruler or whatever is to, you know, once you've established a section, just hold them up next to each other. And that gives you like, okay, I kind of have a little bit more on my lighter side here. I'm going to take a couple seed beads off. And again, not holding myself accountable for exact section length, but just something similar to what I started with. So then we've got
Cindy likes stream of consciousness designing a lot, so she's right with you.
Awesome. It's good to know we're not alone, right? So I've got that solid chunk, and then my transition bead, my demi bead, I'm going to put just one of those on at a time. That little blue one, I chose a darker color to help kind of show off the design a little bit better on camera. So then my second color that I'm working with, I am picking a color that is similar to the one before it. So it's this little like translucent ivory sort of, it's got kind of a taupey ivory color to it. So I've got that transition demi bead on, and then 2, and this is not the same for me every time, but I started with 2 of that second color, or color B, we can call it. And then another demi, and then I'm just going to throw on 1 of the color A, or the first color that we used. the goal for me is to create this like kind of sporadic section of, you get fewer and fewer of the first color you used and more of the second color. And sometimes I do like just one at a time of some of them, or, like the first color, like I'm doing here. And then other times I still do a couple of them at a time. And you always, I mean, for the purposes of what I'm doing, I'm putting a demi or a spacer transition bead between each part of this portion that's shifting from color A to color B. And then once I've done a few sets of each there, that is my cue to just go ahead and switch over, and I'm just going to throw on an inch or so of that second color. And for my brain personally, having like some kind of a guide or design kind of goal, but not having to follow hard and fast rules, like only 15 beads at a time with 2 of the second color and 1 of the third, I think having some sort of a guide, but not having to feel the stress of adhering to a very specific pattern is comforting.
Yeah, I find that refreshing and comforting too.
So I think I tend to throw on just a few extra no matter what I do, which is okay. And then that looks like still a few too many.
It's a good practice in allowing yourself some grace and to be able to make, not be so hard on yourself if you make a quote unquote mistake, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because that is, the kind of beadwork I've focused on, especially at the beginning of my career, was a lot more or a lot less forgiving. And there's nothing wrong with wanting something to be very consistent. I think I crave that in my life, but when mistakes happen, or happy accidents as we like to call them, it's nice.
Thanks, Bob Ross.
Right? I already quoted Bob Ross another time today with a completely different
oh, did you?
Yeah, so that's
channeling
great too. I'm channeling Bob from the grave.
So Becky is saying that she can't do anything jewelry making without measuring. She's not as good as just eyeballing. So I guess there's things that are just our natural state of being, and it's good to know that about ourselves and honor what works best for each of us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love that you pointed that out, because I know and meant to say at some point too during this process that for those who are stressed out by having to quote unquote be sporadic or organic with their design, go and count out every darn bead on my sample photo in the VIB or in the event group page, whatever that is. And feel free to just mimic the exact counts of the transitions if it's something that you're interested in doing, because life is too short to stress out about like trying to, come up with it on your own, right?
Totally. Pamela's asking, are the demi beads part of the kit? I don't think that they are in the subscription, but maybe you can clarify, Cassandra.
Kristen, you are correct. Those are something we do have listed on our website. So if people were wanting to mimic this exact design, they could order those as well. But this idea is done in jewelry making all the time with without that little spacer transition bead. And just, like literally you're just deleting those from the equation and mixing the colors A and B, the same intervals that I do, minus those demi beads.
Yeah, I was thinking if you decided on one color in your subscription, that's your like little spacer color, you could use it in the same way.
And yeah.
Now, if let me cancel this thing. if customers didn't get the box, but they love the colors that they're seeing here, you said something about maybe making a list of the color IDs and posting it.
So on the website, in the same under the same tab on our website, we have our first month that has already been shipped listed, available. People can purchase the individual colors. So you could go through and add every color from the 8 seed beads in the drop-down menu to your cart and get the full box. You will be paying a little bit more than you do for the subscription. So that's one of the incentives to subscribe, is you will get a surprise every month, but you'll also save some money off of buying the beads individually. But that's available in small quantities because when I order the beads ahead of, so for instance, when I ordered the beads for August, September, and October, I ordered those all at the same time in July and had to kind of just plan for, we would have, less subscribers initially, and then, probably gain some boxes over the course of time. So the leftovers, so to speak, from the August subscriptions are few and far between right now. But if I sell out of those and get questions, I can definitely reorder those colors and make those available in the future as well.
And I think you also said that there were multiple options for the subscription for further savings.
Yes. So with the subscriptions, the first option is that you can order them for automatic renewal every month, and those are $18.99 a month for that applies to the buttons and the seed beads at this point. We actually do have plans to add a few more varieties of subscriptions this fall or winter. We'll see how quickly the beads get to us. But right now, those two are set at $18.99 a month if you sign up each individual month. So basically what happens is when you go to subscribe, if you select a singular month, you'll be charged for any applicable tax and then the shipping for the single month. And that total will reflect the full $18.99 price. But if you choose the 3-month or the 6-month option, you are prepaying for 3 months of subscriptions and shipping, or 6 months of subscriptions and shipping, but you get 5% off for 3 months of the price of the box, or 10% off of the 6-month option for the box. So you're prepaying for the boxes and the shipping, but get a little extra savings in there.
So how is your customer appreciation week kit going? Have you sold through any of the colorways yet?
So I have not completely sold out of any of the colorways, but the one that is the least prevalent at this point is the blue bonnet, which is our silver color scheme. And of course, I did not bring any of those samples home with me either. Why would I think of that?
So that's the one that's the closest to being sold out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Very
I think cool. The other two colors are over half sold out, both individually. So all totaled, we've sold out over half of the kit so far.
So if you guys have been picking up your customer appreciation week kits, and you're maybe doing some here and then some there, over the weeks leading up to the big event in September, it would be good to pick up Cassandra's kit sooner rather than later because she's got more of a limited quantity, is my understanding. So be sure to do that. But make sure you look at Customer Appreciation Week as a page on the Softflex Company website because there are lots of kits to choose from. Some have started to sell out, but there are still plenty available. And our kit is still available as well. Which is called what, Kristen? My brain is just mush today.
Oh, it's called the Autumn Dreaming Design Kit.
It's so pretty. It
is really pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice. You guys are going to love it. It's a huge, very jam-packed kit. It's got lots of stuff. Kristen and I will be using it multiple times over Customer Appreciation Week. And then probably the week after too, because we tend to have so many beads in those kits that we just want to keep making stuff with them. So it'll be a very nice kit to check out. And we are house sold out on our kit.
We are 75% sold out on our kit. So
get one soon. And you
that
can
just
find
gave me a little bit of anxiety, guys.
I mean, it's good. We want people to buy them. So
yeah, we want you to get them. Exactly.
We're okay with them selling out. The hard part is when people contact me after they've sold out and they're like, don't you have just one more? I'm like, no, I really don't. And I'm sad because, I wish you would have gotten it in time. But yeah. And then we're working on a very special treat that we will have on sale that week. And Kristen, I picked up.
I know, I'm dying to see.
I wanted to show you before the show started, but I do have it here if you remind me.
Okay.
When the show is over.
You guys are not ready to share with everyone yet, but soon, very soon.
Very soon.
I'm so over here thinking, what could it be?
You can see it too, but you have to keep our secret then.
I am both good and bad at keeping secrets. Internally, I'm terrible at keeping secrets because I just want to share them with everybody. But in reality, I will not share a secret that somebody asks me to keep. So.
Right. I hear ya. Oh, I've got a question here from Jan. She says, can you get the bead box 1 month and the button box for the next 6 months? So I think you're asking, Jan, if you can have one subscription and get the bead box or the button box. I'm not sure, but maybe Cassandra can say how it works.
So the bead, the seed beads and the buttons are separate subscriptions. So if that, I think I just froze up.
Oh, I see you. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Your face is frozen, but you sound good. Oh, there you are.
Okay. So they're two separate subscriptions. So when you go in to add those items to your cart, you could start with the seed bead and say just 1 month add to cart, and then you could go to the button box and add 6 months to cart. I don't know how it will handle the shipping if you do it that way. It has been combining shipping on things that mirror each other, but I'll pay attention to that when I see the order and happily refund if there's any overage, like for your first month if you technically paid for 2 sets of shipping options, because those are things that we're going to combine if you're subscribing at the same time. I will warn people, it's not really like a warning, but the seed beads, the seed beads and the buttons, any of the subscriptions, the way the individual month is set up is that it will renew every month automatically for you, but you have control over that to cancel after the first month. So don't feel like you're obligated to do more than a single month if that's all you want. But hopefully, if you have any other questions, Jan, please just write that out. But hopefully that was
yeah. It looks like she was asking if you can alternate the boxes, but it sounds like a bead
You
and then
manually
button.
have to
But
do that.
it sounds like you'll have to just do one and then the other.
I think that'd have to be done kind of manually. So go in and register for the seed beads now and then wait until September 17th and then register for the button and cancel the seed bead. It sounds like it'd be kind of painful as a customer, but you could pull it off if you wanted to.
Right. Or I would probably, if that was something I was interested in, maybe I would do 3 months of one and then 3 months of the other. That might be a better way to kind of split it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see someone, I think it was a little bit earlier. Becky had said that I've seen people use those button clasps and I wanted to use them, especially for things I make myself, because they'd be easier for me to clasp than a lobster claw. But she had no idea where to get them. So now you have a great place to go.
We sometimes have them in our live sales as well.
Yeah.
But this will be fun because it's a little bit of a mystery. So you will get some fun mail, in your mailbox every month to kind of cheer you up, which I love.
I think that the subscriptions, no matter what you're talking about, if it's like beauty products or, like I've seen fun knitting things, whatever you're getting monthly is a great form of self-care to gift yourself something, right?
It is. I did that for sketching supplies because I'm not very big at like just going and picking out new pens or markers and things like that. And it was a nice gift actually that my husband gave me. And so I got 3 months of all new art supplies. So it was really fun to try some different things that I had never tried before.
I watched your videos when you opened those boxes.
You did, I know. I did 2 unboxings. I meant to do more, but I just, I don't
Got too excited.
Yeah. I wanted to try a few other ones too. So I think, as we all love watching the unboxings of the beading kits and all that stuff too, it's a similar kind of idea. So it's.
But then I'm obsessed with what is on your mat right now.
I'm having so much fun. I've been wanting to do this since we got these pieces in, which I think was February maybe, around the Tucson show. And I've had it in my mind to want to try this with Softflex. I know you could do it with, oops, what did I do here? But I think I've realized a possible good tip. But here I just started with the center one. I crimped it around, just like you see I did here. I took the 0.019 Softflex in the turquoise, crimped it around, and then I'm stringing on my bead pattern, and then I crimp it at the bottom. And since I'm using the magical crimper, just like these cute little balls at the end, and then just trimming off the wire. And I started with the center one. Let's see if I can find out where it is now. There it is. So I started with the center one because I knew I wanted that one to be kind of the longest. And then I just went to either side and shortened each seed bead by 1 in each color pattern. And I mean, very simple pattern. I don't really do things like this often. So it's not a fancy pattern at all, but just enough to give it a little bit.
Well, you could have fooled me because that looks like something that someone would come up with if they did this all the time. It's really beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it going to be a pendant or an earring? Because you like a big earring.
I was thinking earring, yeah, when I first started, but it totally could be a pendant too. But yeah, I was definitely thinking a nice big earring.
I love a big earring, so that's definitely what I was thinking.
So fun. All right, so I'll string this last little one so you guys can see how I ended off with the crimp at the bottom. I think and this counting has been tough.
Yeah, what did you say that you didn't want to do was count out every seed bead?
I know, and then I'm doing it. But I really, really wanted to try to make a little pattern like this. I've wanted to do it for a while. So I was like, oh, I got to count. I think
I'll show you guys if Sarah, you don't mind
Yeah, go for it.
hopping over to this is the previous video I did.
Whoa,
Ooh, that's
I
gorgeous.
love that.
So for those that are interested in the other things they could do with the seed beads, this is also technically a beginner technique when it comes to a needle and thread work, but the pattern probably makes it a little bit tougher. I would suggest somebody doing like a solid color on the top, or maybe mixing all their colors together and just doing like a confetti
Like
pattern on the top.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That would be a
I
nice
love
way to
that.
do it.
So where is that video located?
That video is on our YouTube channel, and anyone who subscribes to the seed beads in August or September, so still in September now, I'm going to send out a little copy of the printed grid for that pattern so that when they are ready to tackle that idea, they've got a little extra help with that, and they don't just have to follow along by like a picture or the video.
Look at how pretty that would be hanging from that strand of beads too.
Right? Yeah, it's a
You
beautiful
wanted to-
pendant
you
for
wanted
it.
to add that onto there as a pendant.
Yeah.
And
Very
Diane, you of course can justify bead subscriptions as self-care for sure. Anything that brings you joy on a regular basis, I think is fantastic self-care.
Absolutely. I'm 100% behind that. Even if it's like somebody else's subscription, I don't want it to sound like I'm just talking about it because of ours.
Yeah. Like the beading kits or any of the fun kits with Zoom nights for allegory, or the beading classes with Candy, or whatever, whoever it is, get out there and definitely do it for yourself.
Definitely.
Sometimes we need that little push of getting something new in the mail, or beading along with friends in a virtual community, on the groups and things like that, just to kind of push us to really make the time for something that we love, right?
Absolutely. Because then you wouldn't want to waste something that you've already purchased, right?
Yeah, and it's fun.
The only person you spend your entire life with is yourself. So take care of you first, and then you can take care of everyone else after.
I've never heard it said that way before, Sarah, but that is a great way to put it in perspective, right?
Your own best friend. Yep.
So I've got my last little strand here, and this one was 4 of the one color, then 3 and 3 for the end. And I just string on the 2x2 millimeter crimp tube in the gold, and I take my wire back up through the crimp just like you would any other loop. And you could even add dangles if you wanted to do something where you added another
Ooh, that longhorn
dangle.
would look awesome in the center.
Totally.
You guys have, I think we both have some different colors of the little baby daggers too.
Oh yeah, I just used those this week. Oh my gosh,
that would be such a good dangle on that little
Those
loop.
would look really cute. That would get definitely a very like Arizona, New Mexico sort of vibe.
Yeah. So that is a total design option choice that you can do with your little loop at the bottom, or you can just snip it right off, right, using your flush cutters all the way flush towards your crimp, and then they just have like a little ball at the end.
I just learned something new, Kristen. I did not realize, I mean, I have done some strands like that and just ended my crimp bead on the individual strand, which I always am nervous about being too thin of a space to like hold the crimp bead in place. So thank you for giving me that tip about you still double the cord over.
I do, and I do that in this case because I want to use my magical crimping pliers, and you need 2 strands of the wire running through the crimp to get a nice actual connection for it to finish. Otherwise, it'll just slide right off. So so that's a great way to do it for all crimping, though, just to give that extra wire in there and give it a little extra nylon to grab onto. I'm also wondering, after I did this, because now, I mean, I love that it just kind of gathers together and hangs, but I wonder if there's a way to create something in between them too, so that they have a little more spread out separation, like if you had a little bead in between.
And just did a really short dangle between each strand.
Yeah, so I don't know if it'll work or not, but it just kind of came to my mind when I saw how they kind of cluster up, that maybe that's another design option to try to kind of get in between and separate them out a little.
If you
Either way, super pretty.
on the links at the top, it would naturally separate them more because there would be the seed beads would separate out.
If I put them where up here, you mean?
Strung them on the wire and then went back into the crimp.
So yes.
Seed beaded at the top as well as the bottom.
Up here, you mean? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Other next to each other. Yeah. I don't know how you'd get anything in between because it's a closed loop.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight space too. I think if I didn't have as many dangles, I could probably squeeze a little something in there. But I like the idea of trying. Maybe I'll try that with the other one and see what the difference is and how it looks.
Interesting. I'm going to make an ear wire for mine. So let me bring this back up. Here's how they turned out.
You're so fast, Sarah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love it.
I love them.
They're so sweet. They make me so happy. So I'm going to use the 20 gauge. So now I've used the 18 gauge for the base, the 26 gauge to wrap the seed beads, and now I'm moving to a 20 gauge for my ear wire. I'm not going to need a lot of wire. I'm just going to pull it. I'll probably just keep it on the spool so I don't have to waste any. But I do want to get my nylon jaw pliers in there and kind of straighten and just clean up that wire. Get the work hardening process started. I usually like to come in with the flat side of my cutter and just trim the end so that I know it's nice and flush. And then I am going to use the smallest looping plier portion here to make the connector loop. And then I'm going to use the biggest to make my ear wire loop. You can also make ear wires on the wig jig if you prefer to make them that way. If the pliers are too cumbersome, that's an option as well. And you trim it as short or as long as you like. If you want to add like a little turn to it so it doesn't come out of your ear very easily, you can do that as well. And then you want to work harden it. So that same system, I'll usually, if I'm doing ear wires, I'll make quite a few and lay them all out at once and work harden. So I'll do that in a minute because I'm going to make another one anyway. And then the last thing is the burr cup, which I think I have one in here, my tool bin here.
I love making ear wires with that looping tool, the multi-mandrel tool. I think it's so quick.
File down the tip so that it smooths it out.
Is that a tool that you guys carry, Sarah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I have always hesitated. I definitely am capable of making my own ear wires, but I've always hesitated because I know the ends need to be like filed somehow, and those just look so nice.
Yeah, it's really easy. They're really great. And then you've got your little ear wire that matches your earring. You can just slide it on like you would your normal earring. I'm going to work harden mine. I'm going to make another one and work harden it, and then I'll slide them on the earrings and show you what it looks like.
Fantastic.
So I wanted to show you. I'm glad you came back to me. I'm wearing a button today too. I didn't even think about it or realize.
Oh my gosh.
I'm wearing a button ring. So this is another idea for you guys that get your fancy buttons to try and make some wire rings out of them.
Yeah, we actually have a blog that has quite a few ideas for how to use buttons, and you're welcome to share that if you want, Cassandra.
I'll have to go.
Thomas will probably
grab that.
I mentioned it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I love to I love to come up with ideas for stuff, but anytime there's resources available already, it's, great to share that too.
So I'm trying what Sarah suggested. I grabbed the other color, which was like a champagne color, to wrap around the top. And this way there's some beads right around the top, and maybe that'll help keep them a little less cozy. I guess. Just give them a little more space.
I think if somebody let them gather the way they were, first of all, I'd probably continue to add more strands, because I don't think I'd be able to stop myself.
I know, I was thinking that too. You could just add more strands, and I like that it gathers too, but it also just made me think, ooh, is there a way to...
There's like yeah. Putting them around the top definitely changes the look and gives it a whole, like in a lovely way. Neither way looks like better or worse, I think, just different.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to give it a little bit bulkier of a look at the top. But the nice thing about Softlex is, because of the colors, you can just let them kind of be, and they're really pretty because just showing it is nice.
That's kind of what I was thinking about when Sarah was showing her bracelet too, was how cool some of the brighter colors would look in that design.
I also love that your wire acts kind of like a needle. So you just kind of poke it in there.
Definitely.
to scoop those up. Makes
it a little easier.
Thank you, Jan. She said, you ladies are so inspirational. I love the live reading parties. Thanks. I will be going back to watch the replay for any tips I missed.
Makes us feel really wonderful, Jan. Thank you.
I know. Thank you, Lois. She said, you all are so creative. That's awesome. Thank you for the nice comments. That always brightens up everybody's day when they hear something nice. Even people that you see, that you think are experts or gurus in any industry, we all still have feelings. we all appreciate hearing kind feedback and getting those hearts and likes, and makes us feel.
It's good to know that you're enjoying it, for sure.
Mm-hmm. As much as
if people aren't interacting while you're live, it can feel like you're in a chasm or just talking out into space. And it is so gratifying. I don't know if people realize when they respond in real time how gratifying it is, because it's very helpful to not just like sit there talking to yourself, basically, right?
Yes, for sure. Oh yeah, that does look really different.
It does.
That is, equally cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'll do a side-by-side picture in the VIB group so you guys can see the difference between the two little formats.
That sounds great.
And I have to say, I am seeing the notifications pop up on my phone, and I apologize if those little tiny beeps are coming through on the audio, but thank you so much to everyone who's on there subscribing and adding their items to their shopping carts. I really, really appreciate that.
And I just got a new pair of earrings. Woohoo!
I love those so much. You guys are just like out of control. I did not realize we were all going to like be making brand new designs today. This is so fun.
We sometimes can't help ourselves.
Yeah,
that was the goal.
Love to have some beady fun. One last look at Cassandra's necklace and that beautiful piece that she made in there.
And I'll give you guys just the preview of some future colors. There they go.
It looks beautiful for fall. Still very like soft and pretty, not super fall-y yet, but getting there.
Perhaps.
I love it.
Well, thank you for spending time with us today, Cassandra. Thanks for sending us some fun seed beads to play around with. And I think your subscription boxes are going to be a huge success because I haven't seen anything like it. I think it'll be fun to have like a color palette of seed beads to work with each month.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's so many different ways you can use them, as you saw today, from these 3 different projects or 4 different projects really on the screen right now. They can be used for bead weaving or just stringing or embellishment. I mean, they're really very handy to have around. And I think the button one especially is going to be a lot of fun because that's going to be getting like a little treasure chest each month. Subscribe to the button.
And you just will never, that's something that'll be very unique, I think, to you as well, is that those vintage type buttons are not easy to find and they're always so pretty.
Well, and I think that the cool thing about that, the seed beads, people want to be able to pinpoint what they are and potentially reorder them, of course, because they're beautiful and you want to use them in projects, but the buttons, it's kind of like, you might get a couple that you never see again, and I think there's something to that, right? Like the bead hoarder and collector and all of us wants that a little bit in our stash.
Totally. What do you mean nobody else can get these? I need them all.
We have a really good fun event coming up on Friday that I wanted to remind you guys of. It's called the Great Bead Trade. Basically, 8 presenters from the Great Bead Extravaganza have sent me materials that I have kitted together. I'm trying to see, I think I have mine here. I've kitted it together and then sent it back to each of them. And each person was partnered with another company. And so there will be 4 videos going on back to back on the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook page on Friday. Starts at 11 a.m. Pacific with me and Abby from the Bead Place. And it'll be an all-day affair and lots of fun. And all of the presenters will have a very special coupon code. Our coupon kicked off today, and it is TGBT, right, Kristen?
That's correct. Yeah, TGBT.
Coupon code. You never know. I've been sick, so I haven't been in the office checking emails. You never know when something changes on you. TGBT at softluxcompany.com gets you 15% off store-wide. And
whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Even the kits. Even the customer appreciation kit. Even Peace and Love or Foxy Lady. Whatever you choose. So you can go check that out. We have lots of one-of-a-kind gemstones. We have lampwork beads. We have all sorts of unique and unusual beads and findings, as well as kits and wire and tools and all the other things that we're more well known for. So check out the whole website and take advantage of that. And then we will meet up on Friday and have a really great day of beading. Hopefully I don't get worse before then. And I'm feeling a little better by then, but we'll see. Either way, I
hope so.
Come hell or high water. Is that how you say it?
Yes. Some way, somehow.
A girl phrase just comes out of me every once in a while. So check that out. And of course, go check out Cassandra's website, beadstoliveby.com. Right, Cassandra?
Yes, I was willing to move forward.
And be sure to check out her Customer Appreciation Week kits, as well as her subscription boxes, and then all the other lovely things that she carries on her website too. She's a full size bead store in Michigan. So you can also go visit her in person if you want to. What city are you in again?
We're in Jackson, which for anyone that's familiar with like Michigan as a whole, like the bigger cities, we're like a half an hour south of the capital of Lansing, or we're just about an hour away from Detroit, which is someplace I know a lot of people are familiar with. So
are you kind of in the middle of the state?
like dead center in the middle and about an hour north from the Ohio-Indiana border. So yeah, we're real close to a lot of people that live in like northern Indiana and Ohio. I get visitors from there pretty regularly. And I'm glad you said something about the coupons too, because I think it'd be worth mentioning to people that when they subscribe to the boxes, or if they purchase a customer appreciation week kit, they are going to get a little extra something to use at a future date on the website as well.
I saw that
very nice.
it comes with a coupon code. So if you love what you get or you want something similar in a different color, you'll be able to go to the website and use that coupon code, which is exciting too. Well, congratulations on launching a brand new project. It's a lot of work to get things like this set up and going, especially using like a subscription box service. I've heard it can be really challenging. So give yourself a huge pat on the back because you did it.
You did.
You're going to keep doing it, but it'll be easier.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate you like reconfirming that, and I feel very seen with you girls. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're a big part of our family here at Softflex now. So we will have Cassandra back, and in fact, I'm going to send her some kit palette colors so she can maybe decide on a month where we can team up and have our kits match each other. I think that would be super fun. So hopefully we'll see you again soon. We'll definitely see you for Customer Appreciation Week next month.
Yeah, and that's like a couple weeks away. Oh,
gosh, it's only like 3 weeks, I think. Is that true? Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad I'm sick this week and not that week.
For sure. Yeah,
I do feel very like prepared in a lot of ways, but I can't believe it's like already here. We've been planning for this for like 6 months, right?
Forever. Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's good though.
Big events take a long time.
Definitely.
Sarah and I have really, upped our planning game in the last 2 years. So which has been really, really nice because we used to be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Wait, that's now? And so it's been really nice to plan ahead and like prepare these events for all of you. It makes it so much more enjoyable for everyone. And we get to have surprises like you're going to find out pretty soon, which if we didn't plan ahead, we would have never been able to get that done.
That's true. Well, thank you for being here, Cassandra. Thank you to all of you out there that watched either here live or watched later. I know tons of you watch us on replay, and we appreciate all of you too. Hope you're having a fabulous week. I will see you again on Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific. What is that? 2 p.m. Eastern for the Great Bead Trade. And then Kristen will be back next Monday, I think. Is it a holiday next Monday or is it?
I think it's the Monday after, right? I don't even know.
Not
the Monday after, yeah.
Yeah.
Labor Day.
I'm really bad
on Monday.
Yeah, I'm always really bad about realizing that a holiday is coming up. I'm always like, oh, wait, no, I won't be there.
I'm only aware because we have a really big mural festival in our community that week. So,
fun.
That'll be
did you say something about that on your Instagram page?
I did. It's the Bright Walls Festival. We did some special kits for it. So
awesome. Ooh, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's the finale. So they've done it for like a half a dozen years now, a little bit more lightly through the pandemic. So it's a little bittersweet this time around.
But we can find out more information on your Instagram. You're at Beads to Live By, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. And then we will post pictures of what we made today on our Instagram and into the VIB group. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.